Guys, how's it going? It's Brad from ETA College here. So today I have the privilege to chat to Andrew Gray, and he's a legend, and he's going to talk to you in the camera there, you, about training post-corona period of our lives. We're getting rained on, so let's go inside. Come on, I'm going to talk to you while we go. So this is the part of the shoot where I pretend like I'm meeting Andrew for the first time, even though I've been with him the entire day. So let's go, let's get out of the rain. I'm so cold. He's wearing my jersey. Let's go. Let's go. This is ETA College. We love this place. Beautiful. This is the studio. And this is Andrew, who is training Garth Orenson. Okay. Gentlemen, how's it going? Let's get the camera to the light.
Okay.
Andrew, nice to meet you. Look, we're social distancing.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. Okay, we got that out the way. So guys, I'm here with Andrew. Andrew, it's been a tough time. We don't know what's going on with our lives. Training is hard. People are going to try to jump straight back into it, and you've got the answers for us. Tell us about training during COVID times. First of all, what's Garth? Is he just going to squat the whole time?
Yeah, no, he's got, so long as we're talking, Garth is exercising. Okay. So you don't have to worry about Garth. He knows what he's doing. He's got his program. He's sorted.
And he knows not to look at the camera. There we go.
All right. It's very hard not to look at the camera. Just exercise. Yeah, that's right.
All right, Andrew.
Brad, I don't know if I've got all the answers, but there certainly are some key performance indicators and some key rules that we should all be following. I'd like to go through some of those because I think it's important that coming out of COVID, we don't assume that our bodies can manage the type of activities or the level of activities or the intensity of activities that we used to do. It's going to take our time to get used to those again, both in a sporting performance perspective as well as just in a training perspective as well.
So is what we're seeing are people basically going and training when they used to train and are injuries happening? Is that the problem?
Yeah, I think there are. I think we've got different types of people. I think you've got those people that during COVID got online, downloaded information, and were really doing a lot of training. And it's sort of unsolicited in that it means that they were doing a lot of extra training. They were trying different things. They had lots of time on their hands, so they were doing sessions that their bodies weren't used to, and we got involved in a lot of strength work. But together with strength work, we forgot about some of the movement stuff. We forgot about a little bit of flexibility. We forgot about, if we're sports people, we forgot about the activities that we do on fields and online. And I think those are some of the aspects that we're seeing happen now. So just to give you a very visual picture, I'm a visual guy. So when you're doing an exercise like Garth was doing, as he squats down and up, his hips are doing this all the time. And that's a movement that your hips do when you're in a gym environment. When you go out and you jog or you run, your hips don't move like that. Your hips actually start to move like that. And the types of muscle control, the muscle contraction that you need is very different when you're controlling your body moving like that, as opposed to when it's moving up and down like that. And those are some of the areas where we're a little bit more concerned, especially for those athletes or those people that are wanting to go back and play sport. They've done a lot of this in gym work, they've made themselves strong, but they're making them strong in one direction with their pelvis or their hips moving in one pattern. And what we understand from a sporting point of view and a movement point of view, we have to be able to have our bodies rotate around. And that becomes important.
That's very interesting. I love that. So you have a PowerPoint presentation that you do a talk on this, and what we have the ability to do, because it's the virtual space now, Andrew, is we're going to bring up PowerPoint slides like this.
So there are three aspects that we've got to be concerned about after a long layoff after COVID. And the first one is just physical ability. So those are things like strength, flexibility. Okay, graphs just go down. No. And what we see is in this period, we've lost a bit of strength, we may have lost a bit of the flexibility or the power. So those are quite simple abilities for us to gain, but those are real concerns that we have because our bodies aren't capable of dealing with the same stresses or the same loads that we used to.
Clearly.
That we used to do. And clearly Garth has shown a little bit of fatigue here already. And I know as a strong young man, he's able to do a lot more than just 4 or 5 without starting to change his technique. So technique is one thing that we really need to hone in on. That's the first one. The second loss that we have in the sporting sense is what we call cognitive ability. So in an example, Garth, I can just get you to stop there, give you a break there, turn around and face me. So in a cognitive ability, what I'm going to do is Garth, who I know is very good in martial arts, if I throw a punch at Garth, his normal reaction would be to duck or to move around or to be able to block me. But in this time, because he hasn't practiced it that much, as I do that, Garth's ability to respond to an environment is going to be reduced. And we see that more specifically on the sports field, their ability to make decisions in sports events, it becomes a crucial thing. And the third one is really just their ability in a specific movement. So like in a sports skill, whether it's kicking a soccer ball. So if you had to try and just stand on one leg and try and kick a ball to me, it's in that motion of being able to balance and to be able to perform the skill without falling over, without moving, and then with precision. And we see these three components, the strength, the cognitive, the mental ability, and the ability to do this type of movement as almost being like a circular effect. One affects the other, which affects the other. And if we look at it from a scientific point of view, and we see the research that's going on, we realize that there is a very high incidence of injuries of people going back to sport after COVID.
Did you guys understand that? Great. Moving on.
Okay, so what I want to talk about now is just, you'll find it in any medical textbook or in any training textbooks. It's something called the general adaptation syndrome. So basically what happens is we've got an exercise session that happens over here. And that exercise session could be cardiovascular in nature, it could be strengthening, it could be a Pilates class, it could be a yoga class. And what you've got, immediately you finish an exercise session, you don't suddenly feel stronger. So what happens is you get tired. And the depth and the level of your tiredness and your fatigue is determined by what happens there. So it's very difficult to give you a single example, but the higher intensity, the harder you work out, the more time it's going to take you to recover from that exercise session. So this period here, between that period of negative to where you come back here, is determined to a large extent by how hard you're working here. Unfortunately, if you compare Brad to me, Brad's a little bit younger than I am, so Brad's natural return to normal would be slightly quicker than mine. If Brad is highly trained, that does that. So Brad's curve could effectively do that, which means that he could start training a lot sooner than somebody like me. Now, after COVID, we're not as conditioned, we're not used to that as high intensity workouts. So what happens is this graph effectively becomes it becomes longer and longer, which means that it takes us longer to recover between sessions. So in other words, if I start to train here again, my curve then does that. And then I train again and I'm training down there and it does that. So like I was saying, what happens now is that you have multiple opportunities to go down and down. And what happens is you start out on a Monday, you're starting there. By the time you get to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're really only at around 60% of your capacity, which means that your risk of injury is just that much higher. All right, so one of the things we really need to focus on when we're returning to training is the amount or the volume of work that we're doing. So volume can be determined by a number of things, but there are a couple of scientific bodies overseas. There's this huge body called the American Council of Sports Medicine and the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and they've put together this return to activity scenario for us, and it's very hard to remember, so just listen closely, very difficult. 50, 30, 20, 10. So basically, each time I mention a number, that's a week's worth of training. So in the first week of training, you go back and you do 50% of the amount of training that you did do before COVID or before a break. In the second week, you only reduce it by 30%. And in the third week, you reduce it by 20%. And in the fourth week, you're only reducing it by 10%. So by the time you get to week 5, you're now back doing the same volume of training as you were before COVID. Again, all these scientists, they've determined that if you go back to activity too quickly and you start doing too much, your risk of injury gets very, very high. Okay, so now that we understand volume a little bit better, let's just see how it all sort of works out. So what we've got now is that when we come back to training, we've got volume that happens down the bottom end here. All right, we have, what would be another one, Garth? What's another one?
Load.
No, we've got load. No. Okay, we've got variety. What's another one, Garth?
Is it the 3 V's?
I don't know, you tell me. No, it's not the 3 V's. It's 2 V's and an I.
Intensity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right.
Okay. So what we've got is we understand the way to go back to volume, but when we're going back, if you don't have variety in your training, you're going to get very bored. And again, we look at a lot of the stuff that's happened during COVID. We've done the same thing over and over again. There's only so many hit sessions that somebody can do in a week. So clearly, I think we're pushing the boundaries. So we need to have variety in our training. And when I say variety, you can't do 6 days in a row of cardiovascular training or doing the same thing, getting on your bike or going for a walk. we've got to have some sort of variety. So what you saw Garth doing a little bit earlier, he was combining a little bit of strength work with a little bit of endurance conditioning, and then you'd be going outside and doing some running on the field, etc., etc. So that creates us with a variety that we're talking about. Secondly, when we look at intensity, and I think this is where a lot of us got this wrong, I have never seen so many people doing high intensity workouts on the internet. It's fantastic for those people that are involved in rehabilitation and injuries, because I think a lot of people got injured during this time. And its reason being is because we're used to training down there, and all of a sudden we start training up here, and our bodies aren't used to it. And ultimately what we need to do is, as we go back, we need to bear all of these three in mind. This is the amount of training that we're doing, how many sessions in a week, how long those sessions are, is it the same session over and over again, and then also the last one here is intensity. So are these intense sessions? And the interesting thing is that if we're getting these two wrong, we end up getting injured. So we have physical issues. If we get these two wrong, we get burnout. Or we feel like we're not getting that emotional stimulus, those feel-good endorphins, those hormones that we get released when we exercise. So if you are going back to training and you're feeling like you're not getting that mental lift that you should out of your exercise, you've got to look at the volume of training and you've got to look at the types of training that you're doing. And my advice here is to mix it up. Similarly, if you're coming to the end of week 1 or the end of week 2 and your body's just feeling tired and lethargic, you might have a bit of a runny nose, you might have black rings under your eyes, you might be a little bit moody or irritable, chances are you're affecting this side, and then you've got to look at either the intensity or the volume. But the key thing in all of this is volume, because the volume is the one aspect that has impact into physical stuff as well as mental ability.
Very interesting, and lucky for all you guys, you've got the My Wellness app for volume, intensity, and also variety.
Our workout of the day allows you to select one of 3 workouts best suited to your intensity level: easy, medium, or pro. Want the app to do the guiding for you? Simple. Follow these steps within the app and it will recommend the best workout for you. Take your training to another level by linking your fitness devices or heart rate monitors. Track outdoor activity using the in-app GPS tracker to cycle, run, or walk. Or connect your device and it will upload as an activity onto the app. View all your training results in one app. Using this feature can help you take your results to another level and stay on track, always by your side. Understand what it means to move and how much we should all be moving. Moves and Movergy are there to challenge you. Use this as a guide on what your daily moves are, set targets, and move more with the app. Need a yoga mat, a skipping rope, or some home gym equipment? Access products at preferential prices through Technogym and Sadia, all in the app.
Andrew, sum it up. Let's finish this off.
Okay, I think there's 2 or 3 basics that we need to look into. The first thing is monitor your progression. So monitor the amount of training that you're doing, slowly increase the numbers and the intensity. That's the first thing. The second thing is to try and keep activities to as short as you can. It's enough, Jamie.
That's nice.
Right, and the third one is actually just to listen to our bodies. Let's get back into the swing of things. Let's just listen to our bodies and make sure that we know exactly what it is that we're doing and we get the benefit from exercise.